Hello everyone, I'm Christopher Howell, founder of Mercia AI. I recently spoke at a Coventry and Warwickshire Chamber of Commerce masterclass on AI for business, navigating innovation, risk and responsibility. It was a great session. I was one of four speakers talking about AI in business, and I'm grateful to the Chamber for the invitation to talk, and to everyone who stayed behind afterwards for a chat. Now, my talk was based on practical AI tools for small businesses, what's actually worth using. And on the way back home, I thought, why not do a video version of my talk for anyone who couldn't make it on the day, and for anyone who wants the practical takeaways in one place. So let's do this. I'll try to keep this practical. We'll cover what AI does well and where it struggles, AI assistants, or better term, chatbots, human in the loop automation, data insights, AI visuals, and finally, responsibility, trust, and risk. And the big theme running throughout this presentation is focusing on the outcomes first, focused on the desired results you want from using AI in your business, and then think about the tools you need to achieve that outcome. So, good news. To use AI tools effectively, you don't need your own data center. It would be nice, but not required. You don't need a development team, and you certainly don't need massive budgets running into the tens of thousands of pounds. You also don't need to understand AI jargon. You you don't know what a token is, you don't know what LLM is, don't worry about it. You don't need to understand that. But what you do need is a clear idea of what problem you're trying to solve. Start with that. Focus on the outcome first, then think about the tools to use later. So, what does AI do well? And where does it fall flat on its face? Well, AI is pretty darn good at a few specific things. It is great at summarizing information. It is just as good, if not better, at spotting patterns in data. Databases, spreadsheets, documents, you've got loads of this for your business. AI is fantastic at spotting trends and anomalies in that data. And it's also quite good at creating first drafts, emails, social media posts, documents, images, videos. Any time where you need to create something quickly, or if you want to create, say, a proposal or a prototype of an idea which you want to present to focus groups or investors, AI can help very, very well with that. But it can also struggle at things, especially when it comes to context and judgment. By default, AI is not going to understand why you run your business the way you do. It's not going to have a clue about why you prioritize tasks the way you do, what matters most to you and your customers. When I see small businesses struggling with AI, it's usually because one of three things is happening, or some of these, or maybe all of these. So sometimes they'll try and choose the tools before identifying the problems they want to fix. And then they can go down a rabbit hole where they waste time and money on creating solutions to problems that didn't exist in the first place, just to justify the cost of spending money on AI tools. Sometimes small businesses will try and bolt AI onto their existing ways of working without changing anything else. And that can lead to a brick wall of frustration. You need to be flexible when you're thinking about adopting AI into your business. You need to be flexible enough to think, I need to change the way I work, the way my employees work, if this adoption of AI is going to be a total success. And sometimes businesses are reluctant to adopt AI because they're worried about getting it wrong. And hey, that's understandable. And that's one of the reasons why the outcomes you want from AI matter more than the tools. And that's why AI matters for small businesses specifically. It lets small teams do more without hiring a whole new department. AI is a fantastic force multiplier. It helps businesses and individuals like myself become more productive with their time. I do a ton of work with Mercia AI, and there's no way I'll be able to get all of that done without using AI as a force multiplier. AI is great at spotting patterns and summarizing, but just don't expect it to have a really deep understanding of your business at the start. In time, it can surface signals, it can identify anomalies and trends, but it's up to you then to interpret those those signals and take action accordingly. Now, there's a lot of hype floating around about AI. So here's how here's how I would spot real value in adopting AI and the related tools to achieve your desired outcomes. I look for four things. A measurable outcome. We keep on coming back to that with good reason. Also, once your outcome has been identified and clarified, you need to use a tool that either fits your existing workflow or a tool which you can then adopt and then change your workflow to work with accordingly. You also need transparency about how AI is working in your business. Transparency which you can explain in plain English, because sooner or later, someone outside your business is going to ask you the question, how how is AI changing my data? How is it looking at my data? What's it doing with my data? And that leads on to data protection, which I will cover later in this presentation. And you also need to make sure that humans can review the work produced by AI before before that work has a negative impact on your business. So let's move on to AI assistants. Now, assistants or chatbots, there's many of them. Uh, ChatGPT from OpenAI, Gemini from Google, Copilot from Microsoft, Claude from Anthropic, Grok from XAI, Minstrel AI. They're all over the place. The point isn't the the assistant you use or the branding for it. What matters for you is the capability of that system, its ability to create drafts, to summarize data, and to help you structure work more quickly. Speaking of drafts, I've already mentioned they're great at this, but they work even better when you give them a clear role. So, for instance, instead of asking your AI assistant to write an email, a better way to to ask it might be something along the lines of, you are a chief financial officer in a healthcare company. Help me write an email requesting an update on when that medication will be delivered. Now, a prompt like that isn't instantly going to turn your AI assistant into some all-seeing, all-powerful chief financial officer who knows all the related information about your company. But what a prompt like that will do is to help the assistant tailor its output to your needs. I strongly recommend when you ask AI assistants to do something for you, give it a specific role to play, uh, not just in the prompt, but in any custom instructions. For instance, in ChatGPT, that allows you to create uh, projects where you can group your chats into a folder-like structure. Uh, it's very useful to go into the custom instructions for that project and just give it a custom role. You are a consultant, you are my advisor, you're an expert writer. The output it'll give you will be tailored then to what you need. Now, let's move on to automation. Now, automation is one of those things which it's boring, it's tedious, but it's essential. It has got to be done, and is one of the most practical areas where AI can help small businesses. And a great example of this is email triage. So AI tools can read your incoming customer emails, assess the tone and intent, whether the feedback from your customers is positive, negative, neutral. That doesn't mean that AI can generate the replies to your customers automatically, but I'm sure there are tools out there that would allow that. But I think for dealing with customers, they would appreciate the human touch rather than a generic AI written email. And AI tools that can examine customer emails, they can also flag those emails as urgent. They can group those emails by topic. They can redirect those emails to the right person based on customer sentiment. Over time, this also creates insight for your business and potential pain points which your customers are experiencing, which you need to fix. It can highlight common themes, what your customers are talking about, what's causing friction for them, or how new product launches are landing. Now, sure, you could get a human to do it, but if you've got hundreds or thousands of emails coming in, that kind of pattern spotting is very hard to do manually, especially when messages are coming in different formats and writing styles from different customers. And the same kind of approach also applies to social media, perhaps even more so, because the feedback you get from that is going to be more frequent and more often in real time. AI can help review comments and messages, highlight negative or positive sentiment. It can summarize what customers are saying across multiple social media platforms. Again, this doesn't necessarily mean that AI tools will go off and create replies to social media messages on your behalf. I'm sure there's tools out there which would allow that, but again, I would suggest that when you deal with your customers, they would appreciate a human actually responding to them. And the great thing about AI, as I mentioned before, is great at spotting patterns in data. For social media feedback, it can help alert you as business to issues which your customers are facing in a more speedy fashion. Uh, I'll give an example I gave at the talk. Let's say you launch a new product and there's a logistics issue, and customers north of Manchester are having trouble getting hold of that product. Chances are they won't just complain to you, but they may talk about it on social media. Oh, has anyone in Bradford managed to get hold of this? Is anyone in Sunderland get managed to hold of this? Oh, wait a minute, people down in London can get it. Why can't I? Up north. So using AI to monitor social media feedback on your business and on your company can be a great way to to get to get feedback from your customers and act on that feedback accordingly. Another example of how AI can be used for automation is meeting notes. Uh, Tools like Teams and Zoom Pro already include this functionality. I've had Zoom Pro meetings with clients lasting over an hour, and before the meeting, I'll say to Zoom, do me a favor and listen in on this meeting, and at the end of it, create a summary of who said what and what action points were brought up in the meeting. And within 5 minutes of the meeting ending, I have a complete summary of, of how that meeting went, what each person said, uh, followed by action points. So if I've promised my client I need to do something, I get in mind of that. If the client needs to do something, he gets mind of that. No one has to take notes for the meeting. You don't get distracted running around for pens and paper writing notes down, or using a second or third screen to make notes during the meeting instead of focusing on what the client is actually saying in the meeting. It's all about removing admin overhead and freeing up your time for more important tasks which require human intervention. The rule of thumb for using AI in automation is simple. Automate the predictable steps. Use AI where interpretation is needed. And you'll see the same kind of a pattern across uh, other admin tasks, uh, creating summaries, drafting, but, and I can't stress this enough, always try and keep the human in the loop. Don't just offload everything to AI, because in the end, I think your customers will appreciate a human being in the loop and giving them feedback when it comes to the queries regarding email and social media. So let's look at data insights from your existing business data. And I'm sure as a small business owner, you have loads of data, uh, documents, spreadsheets, databases, and as I said before, AI is fantastic at being fed data, looking at it, and spotting patterns in that data. Uh, Sales figures, invoices, inquiries, surveys. Uh, you can throw it at AI tool, and it will never get tired. It won't call in sick. AI excels in spotting patterns in that data. You can highlight trends, highlight anomalies, and alert you of things that aren't obvious when you're staring at rows of numbers in a spreadsheet or database. AI can help answer questions like which products or services are underperforming, why certain customers are behaving differently under time. It can group different customer types. It can identify if something unusual happened last month. regarding your sales, which is worth investigating. This doesn't mean that AI totally replaces analysis or decision making, but it's great at acting as a second pair of eyes, which never get tired, especially when your data sets grow too large to reason about manually. But the key thing here is AI works with the data you give it. If the data in your spreadsheets or databases or documents, if they're messy, inconsistent, or incomplete, the highlights will be unreliable. And I jumped to the slide too quickly there, but I'll go back. But the thing is, AI doesn't fix bad data, it will just expose it more quickly. You could create a visual dashboard in a presentation and yeah, it look great. But if it's based on faulty data, that dashboard is going to be faulty as well. AI doesn't fix bad data, it'll just expose it more quickly. Used properly, it can help small businesses move from I have the data to I understand what's going on without you needing to hire a data science team. And again, you, humans, stay in control. AI doesn't tell you what decisions to make based on that data, but it will help you see what questions are worth asking based off that data. And now we move on to AI-powered visuals with some limits. So I have all the artistic talent of my air fryer. Thanks to AI, I don't need that skill, and neither do you. So there are lots of tools out there, including AI assistants like ChatGPT and Gemini, which are now very capable of creating images based to business needs, and those capabilities continue to improve. Uh, Gemini rolled out their Nano Banana update for image generation. Uh, ChatGPT responded with their 1.5 update for images. For context, every image I use on the Mercia area website and for social media promotion is AI generated. Not because it's flashy, but because it's fast for me to create and it's good enough for my needs. With AI image tools and AI assistants, you can describe the type of image you need, ask for changes, make those changes quickly. That makes AI generated visuals useful both for final content like posts, slides, or flyers, and for quick prototypes you might want to test with customers, focus groups, and investors. Now, used sensibly, AI visuals reduce friction in communication rather than replacing creativity or judgment. And AI generated videos doesn't have to mean full production. AI can help with captions, basic edits, and quick clips. As I mentioned before, AI can help with video too, but for most businesses, think lightweight, not creating the next Star Wars movie. Uh, One of the most useful wins is captions and subtitles. That matters because it saves time, improves accessibility, which is at this point it's a win-win and very desirable for any business. And a lot of people do watch videos with the sound turned off. It can also handle basic editing, trimming clips, transitions, uh, cleaning and non-use up, which speeds up producing updates for social media. But the limitation is the same theme as everything else today. AI can speed up the first 80% of your video creation, but it won't, in a reliable way, deliver the last 20% where quality and judgment matter, like polished storytelling, tone, and brand consistency. So, so use it to reduce the friction, use it to generate your first 80%, and then you do the remaining 20%, the final human pass, the final human polish. One of the limits of using AI to create images and videos is text. So the existing image models don't always handle text overlays very well. Uh, you'll see misspellings, awkward placement, lines of text going off the side of the image. The fix here is to treat AI as the image creator, not the final designer. You can add readable text afterwards using tools like Microsoft Clipchamp, which I'm a fan of. The other thing to bear in mind is brand consistency. You still need to make sure that the visuals actually look like they represent your business. And now we move on to responsibility, trust, and risk. As I've said before, you need to understand AI isn't a silver bullet for your business. It won't, by magic, fix broken workflows without some input from you, especially when it comes to responsibility, bias, and trust. So we live in the era of data protection, GDPR, and those data protection rules apply when you put information into any AI tool. Data privacy is non-negotiable. So a couple of questions you need to ask yourself when importing any data into a AI tool is this. Would you feel comfortable posting that information on a public social media account? Would your customers feel comfortable if you put that information onto social media? If not, you got to think carefully about sharing that data with an AI tool because most of them, especially the consumer versions, they're set up to share, to use the data you enter into them for training purposes for their AI models. Now, you can always anonymize customer details within your existing data sources before you enter that data into an AI tool. Or in some cases, it can be a simple case of just omitting parts of that data. If your AI tool doesn't need to know how old your customers are or where they live or what their first or last name is, then why enter it? Just leave it out. Some businesses and enterprise versions of AI tools and assistants, they offer stronger data protections, and many of those tools will not train on data you enter into them or import into them by default. But you should never assume that by default, so always check when you use these tools. If data is sensitive, personal, or confidential, anonymize it first, or don't enter it at all until you're confident how it's handled. Just to give you a real life example, a while back, two people working at Samsung were struggling on a design for semiconductors. So they asked ChatGPT for help, and in doing so, they uploaded their partially completed semiconductor design. So in theory, OpenAI, who create ChatGPT, now have access to Samsung IP, or at least part of it. So just be wary when you're using these tools. Don't don't upload anything that's confidential or sensitive to your business, anything related to your IP. Where possible, use businesses and business and enterprise versions of those tools. But even then, like I said, just double check. Just make sure that nothing you enter is being used for training purposes to use to train AI models. Data accuracy also matters. It matters a ton. If you have customer records, what you all do, you're all running your businesses, right? And those customers are listed as living in, say, Coventry, for instance, when they actually live in Warsaw. Do not expect AI to correct that for you. Okay? In time, if you lay it, it will build dashboards and recommendations on top of those errors. And it's not just data inaccuracy, it's also data bias. So imagine a bank using AI tools, and those tools have been trained on data that largely excludes people under 20 years old. Now, the bank does its business. From their point of view, everything looks fine at first. Uh, Customers are coming in, opening accounts, they're applying for loans. Great, fantastic. And then at some point, the bank realizes that younger customers aren't bothering with them. They're going to the bank down the road, around the corner, because the data you've fed those AI tools have excluded people under 20, and those tools will quietly flag those people as a higher risk for account creation or for loans. So the damage here isn't just technical, it can affect your reputation as well. So the lesson here is always make your training data diverse. It should represent all of your customers, both current and potential ones. Otherwise, you will come to a situation where you are leaving money on the table, which is being taken by other businesses. Their AI tools have been trained on more diverse data than yours, and they're getting customers which maybe you could have, but you're not. Because in my bank example, word has gotten around from younger people, don't use your bank. They're terrible. They don't give out loans. I went for them for a bank account. They refused. Blah blah blah. So always make sure that your training data is diverse. Hallucinations, not great. Not great for humans, and certainly not great for AI. Why do AI assistants and tools hallucinate? Well, it's partly because of how the AI models which power these tools have been trained, and partly because they're designed to be helpful even when they shouldn't be. The marketing departments for the likes of OpenAI, Google, Microsoft, it's going to be pretty hard for them to advertise their tools where a key feature is it doesn't know. Right? These tools, if they don't know the answer, they'll often make one up and they will give the answer to you a very in a very convincing fashion. So there's already been a real case, I believe, in the US where lawyers used AI to research legal precedents. AI gave them a whole list of cases, which these lawyers thought, okay, yeah, well, we'll take this evidence into court. We should win this case. They go into court, they present the evidence, and the judge realizes that a lot of these cases, which these lawyers have presented, didn't exist at all. They'd all been invented by the AI tools which the lawyers have used. Case dismissed. Now, if they had spent 30 seconds or a few minutes more just to verify that these cases existed, that would have saved them weeks, months of reputational damage. That's all it takes. Just 30 seconds, minute or two. Just check. If you want a more recent example of how AI hallucinations can have bad consequences, uh, check out what happened with West Midlands Police Force. The former head of that police force was forced to retire last week. Uh, Long story short, uh, West Midlands Police Force uh, said that a Israeli football team shouldn't be allowed to play at Villa Park for a Europa League football game. And as part of the research which the police did, uh, some of that research came from Microsoft Copilot, which said that that football team had played a game against West Ham United. No, they hadn't. That was completely made up. So the point here is just take a little time, just to verify what AI is telling you. So the key takeaway from this is AI supports decisions, but it doesn't validate them. Those, like I said before, those extra seconds or couple of minutes of checking can save you months, if not years, of serious reputational damage. So when you think about adopting AI for your business, as I said before, define the problem. Define the problem you want AI to fix. What is your outcome? What do you want to get out of all this? Also, keep humans in the loop. It's tempting to outsource everything to AI, but I would advise against it. Keep humans in the loop to interpret, guide, oversee AI decisions. Data privacy, non-negotiable. It was before AI, even more so now. Safeguard your customer data. Make sure that customer data isn't being used for training by AI tools and their related models. And sense check all AI outputs. AI can assist your decision making, but it can't guarantee the accuracy of those decisions. The data used to make those decisions may not be accurate. Always check. So AI is a game-changing technology. It's not necessarily about replacing people. It's about removing friction so people can spend more time on work that actually matters. And hopefully this presentation has done its job. And if you're a small business owner thinking about adopting AI, I hope this presentation has been helpful for you. And this was the final slide I showed at the Chamber Talk yesterday. Uh, but if you're watching this video, thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. I hope you've got something out of it. If there's anything you want to talk to me about, then feel free. You can find me on LinkedIn. I also offer a free AI discovery course. Book an appointment, and we can have a chat on how Mercia AI can help you adopt AI into your business. So thank you. Thank you for watching. Have a great day, and goodbye for now. Thank you.